She specializes in top-level executive engagements, including strategic executive coaching for senior leaders, such as country, regional, and global heads, business turnaround consulting, interim executive, global human capital solutions, and executive performance, and sales and marketing coaching for many global and Fortune 100s. Previously, she managed a performance management program for the Supreme Court and helped a Nestle team create breakthrough results that were acknowledged by the Nestle CEO in Switzerland. Friends, with pride, we present to you Miss Victoria Martinoff to speak on the use of social media in the war for talent.
Good morning. Good morning. Did you get used yesterday before the speaker comes in, there's a singing and dancing? There's a different structure today. Today, we will start with a quiz. Food for your mind. So let's see if you're gonna get this quiz. So, if you can tell me, a human resource executive who was promoted as CEO of Fortune 500 organization in the last 10 years. Who can tell? Come on, you have a prize if you get at least one. I want to see how you're gonna answer this. No one is reaching out yet for their phones. One, I see one already. I'm sure you're doing the Google. Are you Googling it already? Or are you already at your LinkedIn? You already opened your LinkedIn profile and doing the search. This question was posted actually by Alan Weiss. He wrote a really good book on talent management. And he posted this question in the beginning of his book. And then I was at LinkedIn and then I got curious. So I posted the name of Alan Weiss, and the first thing that came up was this question of him. And you know what? Only 5 answers came out, and only one mentioned a name of a person. This was a CEO of Xerox. And yeah, in the last 10 years, only one. And he got the answer through LinkedIn. Very powerful, no? So I'd like to have that. So who went into LinkedIn? I'd like to see a show of hands. No one? Who reached out for their phone to get the answer? No one? Oh, I have a gift pa naman. Maybe you? You did? Okay, come over here. I'm gonna give you a book. What did you get? Come here, come here. So what did you get?
Okay, so I got Ursula Burns from Xerox. I just typed HR CEO Fortune 500.
Also from Xerox. Okay, so this is your book. It's the 2020 Workplace. Really amazing. There's a lot of information here about recruiting using social media. And I hope it also gave you a lot of information as it contributed to me. Let's give him a hand. So, what are we going to be discussing today? So, a lot of you, while I was going around the room, have already been using social media. But some are just starting to consider it. So we will find out why people are actually doing it. The advantages of social media-centric talent search. Remember yesterday we started to look into frameworks that are very powerful. When we discussed competency, we started to look at STAR. So this is going to be the S and T. The advantages of social media-centric talent search. What are the situations that have companies and recruiters actually started to look into social media? And then we will look into the effective use of only 3 right now, simply because these are the top most in the social media platforms that have been being used. And then top 10 general foolproof social media recruitment practices. At this part, I'd like you to see a video, and this was done by Tweet My Job, obviously from Twitter, and let's see what they have discovered when they did actually a research on how social media now is being used in recruitment. Video? Let's play the video. Thank you. So this is the organization who did that. So notice there was a quote by Bill Gates. He said, "Do not be deceived or lulled into inaction." He's really grabbing the attention of everybody that this is the next wave. And this is another survey done by JobVite. Basically, the survey was conducted online between May and June 2011. And 800 people from the human resource and recruiting professionals, this happened in the US, participated in this survey. So they were given certain questions, and these are the responses that they got. So one of the questions, have you or your company used social network technologies or social media to support your recruitment efforts? So these are their answers. Very, very similar to what the Twitter company discovered. There's also an increase already about companies embracing social networking, 92% right now in 2012. And you will notice that, the title of this topic is that there's a call for action because there is a war for talent. Who actually feels that there is this situation happening right now? Do you sense there's a war? Yeah? Okay, there I see nodding heads. According to McKinsey studies, and this was shared also by Weiss and McKay in their book, The Talent Advantage, they mentioned that there is a worldwide shortage of talent and most companies are not prepared for the challenge of attracting, retaining, and developing people. And notice the key word, it's about being prepared. And the reason for this, this is what they are seeing, is because talent management is typically led by HR and is not at the heart of a business strategy. And this compartmentalization in only one department or one function is what they're saying is one of the key elements why this is continually happening. Talent management is not a core competency of senior executives, and they're not even held accountable for this, for developing and retaining their people. And developing people are continually viewed as costs versus investments in people. So, going back to the first question, why social media? So from the end point, from the other perspective, from the point of view of the job seekers, you will notice that really like right now, there's a lot of people into social networks, and it's being checked a lot during the day. There was even an interview done where a CEO was surprised that the person that they have shortlisted in their candidates pool have already checked his Facebook, if he has a Facebook profile, and he had even went through the details of his LinkedIn profile. So the candidate obviously knows so much already about the person he's going to work for. If this was you, and you are the CEO, how would you feel? That the candidates now are actually checking you out, visiting all your photos, finding out where you had dinner the other day. So this was his answer. I was a bit taken aback, but the interview, we had done a bunch of research on me, knows his hobbies, educational background, and even the board appointments. Science has actually showed that a lot of people goes to social media for relationships. There's actually a chemical reaction happening in our brain, and it gives us this amazing chemical reactions. And I'm sure you're very familiar with this when you either watched a movie or you had a very wonderful time talking with somebody very close to you. That's why, if you think that this is a fad, this is happening inside the bodies. Creating relationships using social media is going to be with us. Facebook and Twitter allow recruiters to make personal connections with the talent pool. When I started to ask around whether which social media platform are they using, the two platforms that always stands out is LinkedIn and Facebook. And there was this sharing in that book that I've given you about this guy who, for the longest time, has been staying in an organization, and he's been very, very unhappy. But then he was already tweeting at that time. So what he did was, he would tweet about his complaints, about what he didn't like about the organization. And then he noticed he would have lots of followers. But then after a while, he also noticed that it's getting him nowhere. He's still in the same organization. So what he did, he started to list down the perfect organization where he wanted to be. And then he started to look for people, and this is called community in the terminology of social media, who shares the same passion, the same likes. And there was a lot. He noticed that it's not just him, there was a lot of people who actually are, fascinated about continuing to learn and being surrounded by beauty, being surrounded by continuous learning. And as he continued to be active, like he would tweet a lot and post, he noticed that he would have followers who later on became social friends. And then he saw that one of his social friends actually works for a company that exactly matches when he made his list of an ideal organization, matches that. So he visited the website of that organization, and then he started to ask that friend from his Twitter account to link him up to the CEO of the organization. So notice that from tweeting, he now went into LinkedIn. But then, after waiting for several weeks, no response, no opportunities for an interview. So he continued to tweet, he continued to find connections through Twitter, connections of people who probably are tweeting from the same organization. And then soon enough, he got an interview. And the normal way in networking in the past, especially for those who are only using LinkedIn, after getting that first meeting, 45 minutes probably, That's it. You know, you exchange cards and maybe you get added to the LinkedIn account. But now, because of his tweeting, he continued to create relationship with the person he met. And what's great about Twitter is, after a while, because you are actually having a captured audience when you have several followers, you have the opportunity to start creating a brand for yourself as a thought leader, depending on how many energy or how many time you invest in your, in your tweeting. And soon enough, a lot of follow-up questions happened coming from the initial interview. And then afterwards, he got hired. And when we asked the CEO of that organization how it was hiring that person, that guy I was sharing with you, he said that it was like, it didn't felt like hiring a stranger, it felt more like hiring a friend. Because they have been already exchanging information, tweeting a lot. Next question that was posted by JobVite was, have you or your company successfully hired a candidate who was identified or introduced through social network or social media? Because at the end of the day, you would want someone with the right fit for the position. So here is the answer. In terms of getting hired, the respondents indicated that social recruiting has not only led to an improved group of candidates, but it has increasingly led to successful hires. They found that hires recruited via social media have increased by 10% since 2010. So from 58% at this year, it's now 73%.